So the challenge on this episode is to build a small piece of furniture that's going to support this huge one. So basically this is one of the sides that's going to support that, and this one is on that side that's also going to support that, but this is pretty small, but it's going to be really strong. I'm Duca.
And I'm Roberta.
And together we are building our own tiny shipping container house.
So don't forget to subscribe
And to join us every Monday for a new episode. Time to start the week. Step number 1, as always, cutting this.
as always since we start building furniture.
yeah, we're learning, and that's the way to go. It's much easier, and just to make sure we don't make mistakes. And the first step on the cutting list is to cut all these lengths in parallel. I mean having the right thickness. So we're gonna cut to the thickness now and make sure that the thickness is parallel, and then we can cut the angles on the side.
You're gonna see.
Wait and see.
The thing is, it's really hard to keep it straight when it's too big, so we are gonna cut here.
This one is easy because it's really narrow, so we can cut to length on the miter saw. That makes it a lot easier. So the challenge on this episode is to build a small piece of furniture that's going to support this huge one. So basically this is one of the sides that's going to support that, and this one is on that side that's also going to support that, but this is pretty small, but it's going to be really strong. That's why we're playing at least.
We did some reinforcement for this.
Oh, that's true. This is basically just to make sure this one, move this way. So we are going to screw these reinforcements just to give some stability. That's what we believe is going to happen. But now
we need to glue some laminate. Veneering, actually.
Yeah, that's tricky. Veneering is always tricky because the wood is really fragile.
You never know how to pronounce this word. Here. So now we need to cut one side square, and then we need to apply here, to glue here.
Actually, three sides square. This and this.
Yeah, we need to cut 3 sides square.
Yeah, that's pretty tricky to get the exactly position, but we need to try, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can manage to cut this square. It's really tricky because of the
fiber of the wood.
The fiber of the wood, yeah. Sometimes I manage to cut straight, sometimes we need to sand, but let's see if we can manage this time to cut straight.
So, seems
Not bad.
squared actually.
Yeah, it's enough. But now is the tricky part. To get the sides square. Sounds good?
Good.
Let's see if that is right.
Fingers crossed.
So now,
Good job.
one done. Let's do the second one. This one looks really good actually.
What's the next step, babe?
We need to sand this a little bit, I think, before we assemble. It's gonna be easier to sand now.
And next?
And then we need to assemble it. I mean the first part, and then we need to do the back and the front. Yeah. One piece at a time. Baby steps. That's the trick. Yeah. We almost forgot a really important detail. We need to cut the hose for the outlet and for the light switch. That's gonna be on this shelf. Let's do it. Now we can fit this,
Haha.
and then we can fit this.
Good, right?
Now, so this one hopefully fits this one. Yeah,
Good.
you can turn on the lights now.
You just need to install all the cables for that. The
And
wiring.
light, and the light itself. But we'll get there eventually. That's pretty good. basically now we have the module ready, but we need to cut the back panel and the two front panels. But just to make sure it fits perfectly, we're gonna mark with these instead of measurements. I think it's better. Isn't that cute? Need to mark where the veneering is gonna be. Last step before we can assemble these last pieces, we need to laminate, no, veneer. So this is this way. By the way, thanks so much, Andrea, for joining us on our Patreon family.
So cool when a friend joins us.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise. Andrea is a really good friend of ours. He's of course a supporter since always. He's the one since we had the idea, one of the few that we told the idea before we actually started doing it.
He's the one that inspired us to start the Instagram Living Time project.
Yeah, we started Living Time project because Andrea has an Instagram that is so cool and inspired us so much that we decided to have Living Time project.
His Instagram is Van Lifers.
Yeah,
check it out.
We're gonna leave on the description below. It's a really cool, inspiring Instagram, and it was such a really good surprise when we woke up and it's like, whoa, you have a new patron. Oh, Andrea. Is this Andrea? Oh, yeah, it's Andrea. That's pretty cool. Andrea, thanks so much. That means a lot for us. A lot. Just to know that our good friends believe on what we're doing. That's just
no words.
No words. Yeah, let's get working. Otherwise, we won't finish on time. Let's do it.
So the idea now is to use something that we bought a year ago and we have never used it before.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been telling us to use. We actually have a pocket hole jig, but it's a really tiny one. That's the cheapest one we could get. The rest was too expensive. Let's try this out and see how it works. First one, check.
Yay!
That's it. Now all we need to do is to laminate, to veneer. I always get confused. So we need to apply the veneering and then we are ready to assemble the final pieces. We're getting there. This week, by the way, we are really slow. I don't know if you can tell, but we are really tired. But it's not because we are tired. It's so hot. Today is the first day that's not that hot. Yesterday, in fact, was the hottest day ever where we live. Ever. I mean, like, they don't have any
register?
No. They don't have any information of any higher temperature.
Any data?
Any data, yeah. They don't have any data of any higher temperature. Yeah. So 8 Celsius, but the feeling was over 40 Celsius. For us, it's really humid, so it's humid. That means that the weather is feels like even hotter. Yeah, so now today is a little bit better, so we are getting back to track, because we were so slow because of the heat. But you're gonna get back. We're gonna get back.
Aruk was here.
He was here?
Yeah, I was filming him while you were talking.
So this is the new kid of the land. That's the baby boy. You guys like? That's the new owner of the land. He's the one that's gonna take care of the house. Right, Aruki? Right, Aruki?
He's a kid now. He's like 2 months now.
He's 2 months old. So we can start with these.
Explosions like a heartbeat. Yeah, my mind's keen, rushes of emotion. Now let's do it again. There's sweetness and adventure without a venture. TV's got your mind stuck on good reality. We are young, 'cause our soul is warm. Life's much more if we live it up. Life is all on schedule, but dead's forever. I send my condolences to the side of the drive. Some say I'm living in the moment. I say motion, I ain't got no potion, but we can touch the sky.
Okay.
Doesn't that look good? I love it. Love the result. So this is just a guide for the future light and light switch and outlet also.
So much more. We are young. Soul is warm. Life's much more if we live it up.
That's it. You're done.
A lot of screws.
Yeah, lots of screws.
Hope it holds the big one.
Yeah, I think that's really strong. But now I'm curious to see it in place. Ta-da! That's it.
So?
You change places.
So?
That's a pretty cool one.
What do you guys think about it? We
I love
still need to do some finishings. We still need to apply veneering here. We still need to apply varnishing on everything.
Yeah, but like always, we just, that's the first step. Because we cannot do everything in 1 week, it's just too much for 1 week, so...
And we still need to install the lights.
Light switch and the...
That's gonna be here.
Yeah. Yeah, basically the main purpose of this, I don't know if you understood, but the main purpose of this, I don't know how it's called, cabinet or something, this piece of furniture is to hold a huge wardrobe on the top of it. If you didn't watch that, you can watch on somewhere. Yeah, that's what we built 2 weeks ago. So basically the purpose of this is to hold the huge one, and I'm pretty sure it's strong enough.
I hope.
But at the same time, you need to hold something, but it needs to look good, right? And that, I don't know, it's just, I like this style.
We had the idea of doing some doors, but I think like this is stronger than the door.
Yeah, the reason why, yeah, that's true, yeah. The reason why we're not using the internal space, because we lost a lot of space inside, is because we wanted to have something really, really strong, and in order to be really, really strong, even the, how you call it, the panels, even the panels are like structure pieces. They're all attached together to be, to make it stronger, and I think it helps a lot.
We hope so.
Yeah, so that's it, right?
Yeah, for this week, that's it.
But next week, we're gonna do something that, yeah, we have bad news next week. Should I tell them? Yeah.
No, we can tell, you can tell next week.
Yeah, we have a problem with the top wardrobe that we need to fix. It's a big problem that we're still thinking on how to fix, but we're gonna find a way until next week.
Yeah, so we see you guys next week.